Like last year with the Italian documentary Fire at Sea, we have two foreign language documentaries that were nominated this past Oscars. One of them is from Denmark and Syria. Speaking of the latter, Syria is a country that's been having a lot of trouble recently from mass attacks from other countries, specifically Russia, just as an attack on a city in Syria, which is Aleppo. And the film I'm talking about, Last Men in Aleppo. Directed by Faris Fahad, this film looks into the perspective of the founders of the White Helmets, specifically Khalid Omar Hurrah, Subay al-Hassan, and Mohammed. Their job is to help the civilians that were buried from the explosions they have in their city and see if they survived or had died. Even though they're helping their fellow civilians, they even grapple on their life on a big decision on either leave the country to be free from all this or stay and fight for their lives, for their freedom. Now I gotta say that this is a heavy movie. Since it is taking place in Syria when the movie was filmed, you can see how hard it is to survive there and risking their lives to save these people. And like the previous films with Yancing and the Soon family, you really feel bad for this team, since they were doing the best they can when they're getting bombed every day, especially at nights. Now for my thoughts on the film, I thought it was alright. I was thinking this would be more emotional than Strawn Island, but not really. I know these people are not alive anymore, spoiler alert, but I think we didn't get much more of them saving people's lives. Sure, we do get their lives, but it seems too much. Okay, it's a bad thing to say since these people are not alive anymore, but remember, I'm judging this as a movie. Speaking of which, the playground scene is one of the biggest scenes in the film. And even the FaceTime Khalid has with his kids. By the way, we don't see his wife in the entire film. She is mentioned, but we don't see her. But I do have to give it credit. It does have a heart, since Khalid did really care about his kids, but struggles to decide if he wants to stay or not with them, since the border to Turkey was just getting worse. I know there is another film in Syria about ISIS with City of Ghosts, but this film looks at the perspective of these civilians. Interesting enough, I'm surprised ISIS wasn't even mentioned in the entire film. Like I said, it's alright for me. Like the previous documentaries, you can actually see this on Netflix. I must warn you, if you are gonna watch this film, it is a heavy documentary, like I said earlier. So if you're not a fan of disturbing images, which is not a lot in this film, I say don't watch it. But for those who like foreign documentaries and wants to see how it was for the civilians to survive, go watch this movie. So after going through 3 serious documentaries, I think it's time to go to a lighthearted documentary in France.